God knows, nobody hates backtesting more than I do, right? I mean, I wrote streams of inches of columns that backtesting is a waste of time. And most of the time, honestly, it really is. But here's where it's not a waste of time. Let me put it this way. Backtesting is usually a waste of time in terms of like thinking that you have the perfect strategy. But where it's not a waste of time is in showing you how stupid some of your strategies are. Like, in other words, I think in many ways, the greatest thing about backtesting is that it eliminates a lot of very, very bad ideas that look good for basically like a week or look good basically for a month. How many of you guys have traded something you thought was brilliant, you thought was going to make you $1 billion, was just going to making you money every single day for like about 3 days, and after that never made money ever again? So that little path, the backtesting really, really eliminates. Well, unfortunately, it's so tedious to actually get to that level in any normal, regular way, right? So let's just give you an idea. I'm in an MT4 right now, right? You guys looking at my MT4 account, and I have a great little EA called Pip Sniper, which we've been trading in our room. Which, by the way, Daniel actually wrote for me, and he also wrote the indicator for TradingView. And those of you who are with me in BK know how good and valuable this little tool is. But just to test this particular strategy took me hours and hours and hours. If I were just to test this particular strategy on pound dollar, right? Using, like, I'm going to go into expert properties, set myself up. Okay, this is all my proper settings, right? And then if I were to just use this is from the March of 2019 to April, like 1 year, right? If I were to do this on every tick, which is where you're supposed to do this on, it would take us 5 minutes of sitting around here doing nothing. So what I wind up doing here is doing it like on control points, which is a fast way of kind of quickly finding out if the thing works on a particular pair. So let's say I'm going to do this right now and run it manually, and blah 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 blah. Let's see if it works actually. There it goes. Okay, so I run it and I have a report, right? And it looks good. And now I got to do this 15 more times manually. How many of you are going to do this? Like, then I got to write it all out. Then I got to collate it. Then I got to go figure out what works, what doesn't work. I mean, this is my life. I did this a whole bunch of times before I discovered Daniel's tool, which eliminates all this incredibly tedious work by doing the following. So let me show you how this works with a tool, right? First, I'm going to close my MT4, right? You got to make sure the MT4 is closed. And this is MT5, so we'll just minimize that because that's for something else. And where all my everything went away. I'm looking for, where's my trading indicators? Where's like all my stuff? Daniel, what's your thing called?
It's called the Portfolio Tester.
Let's see, portfolio. Why is it not here? Portfolio backup. Why? It was all over here. I guess it just disappeared. Okay. All right. The beauty of Windows, which I actually like a lot now. All right. So here's how it works. I'm going to load the Portfolio Backtester, right? And I'm going to take you step by step of how to do this. And I'm going to browse. First, you want to browse to your to where your MT4 is. So I'm going to go Windows. Program files 86. I'm going to go into not my Oanda. I want to go into it'll work fine in Oanda, but I want to do it in Pepperstone. So I'm going to say Pepperstone, say OK, and now it's all set up, right? So Daniel did this whole thing of like, he picks the dates and everything else. That's fine. I already, I'm going to pick I'll follow his method. I'll pick the dates first. I was going to pick them late. So let's just pick like, I don't know, from July 1st till today as my dates, right? And let's create a file called results webinar to write to this file. And so this will save all my results to this file. Now here's a cool thing that I want to show you. The EA that we're going to test is going to be my Pip Sniper MT4, right? And I have a couple of presets there. I have like a low volatility preset. and a high volatility preset. So I'm gonna test my low volatility pairs. Now, here's a cool thing that you see over here. Daniel basically by default gives you a whole bunch of pairs, which is nice. But what if you didn't want to, like, this is way too busy for me, right? I never even look at Euro NOK and Euro SEK and Euro 6. What if I wanted to just get rid of and only have like a tight little data set of pairs? All I got to do is go into settings. Where's my settings? Go into manage symbols, and I can get rid of a whole bunch of stuff that I never do. So I can just hit, delete, 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 delete. I don't want to delete this. I want delete, 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 delete. Definitely delete NOK. Say okay, right? Look how cool this is. Like now, I mean, this is, I'm just showing you how nice you can create your own little atmosphere. You want to have 1 million symbols? Be my guest. You can also, by the way, what's really cool is if you want to backtest on other stuff than just currencies, you can go into settings over here, right, and go into manage symbols, and you can actually add a symbol, right? We can do
just click below. Click below USD GPY. Yeah, there. Yeah.
And I think we can do NAS. Is it NAS 100? I think it's NAS 100. Yeah, something like that. So that's like NASDAQ 100, and say okay. And this is NASDAQ 100. I can test the strategy on NASDAQ 100 that I want to do. So you can test it on gold. Like the point is, if you're outside of the U.S., and obviously a lot of you guys are, and you can trade CFDs, you can backtest this on CFDs just as easily as you can backtest it on symbols. That's really cool. So anyways, I got my little tight little atmosphere for what I want to test, and I'm not going to test all the pairs because I don't want to burn up a lot of your time. But I'm going to show you how fast I can test. Like, let's just say 3 pairs: Aussie CAD, Aussie Yen. Let's do 4 pairs: Aussie Kiwi. Yeah, we'll do these 3 pairs in my low volatility, right? I'm going to just test it in this configuration, right? So let's do that. Now, what I'm going to do is I am not going to do every tick. This is I'm doing something that's a little bit off. You should not do. If you're back testing properly, you should test every single tick, and you can do this when you go to sleep. You can set this up and just hit the run test, and when you wake up, everything will be ready for you. But if you kind of just want to really quickly profile and see if this stuff is making money for you or not making money for you, you can just go control points, right? This will save you time. A little hint from somebody who's done this a lot of times: there's actually very little difference between control points and every tick, even though I'm going to horrify Daniel with saying this. If you're trading longer term charts, it doesn't really freaking matter. The only time you really need every single tick is if you're trading below 1 hour charts. But if you're 1 hour above, which this strategy tests on, doesn't matter at all, right? So we do this, then the only other thing you got to make sure is the time. And if you don't do the time, and
Boris, just a small comment on this. When it comes to control points versus every tick, if your strategy has end of bar entry versus intra-bar, and many strategies are like this, then you're absolutely right, then every tick doesn't matter as much. But if you actually need intra-bar entry, then every tick is important.
That's actually a super good point. You're right, because this strategy, that's actually a great point. My strategy is an end of bar strategy. It opens or closes. It opens trades on the closing of the bar. So therefore control points are good. That's super good point, actually. I take it back. Anyways, you guys saw that if I click this and it tells you, hey, you forgot time frame. So I'm going to do 1 hour time frame, right? And just hit run test, right? And what it's going to do is it's actually going to launch the MT4 for you. It's going to just do this super fast and run the test for you on these 3 particular pairs really fast. Boom. Going to give you a result on Aussie. This is, by the way, so you guys know, what is this? What am I trading? I'm trading 10,000 units, so 1 mini lot against a $10,000 account. This is literally unlevered returns. And this is the way you should be trading, by the way, if you want to, make money, because the unlevered, because you're trading. I'll let this thing run a little bit. Unlevered returns may seem like they're very conservative, but you are trading multiple, like for example, this particular strategy is going to trade like 10 different currency pairs. So that means the whole portfolio is actually levered 10 to 1, right? So if you were to, for example, leverage each one of these trades, in other words, Aussie CAD was 100,000 units instead of 10,000 units, you can blow up your account in an instant because you have 10 currency pairs that trade at 10 to 1, you're now at 100 to 1 leverage. This is what a lot of rookie traders completely miss. It's not the leverage on an individual trade. It's the leverage on your whole portfolio that matters. That's why I have it set up such a very conservative leverage. As you can see, it's nicely profitable on 3 pairs now. Now multiply it by about 5 or 6 more pairs that I have going, and it might be actually even more profitable. So let's see. So here's what I want to show you. So now I got these like low volatility pairs, right? Testing complete. I can close this. Okay. So now I want to do one more run into my portfolio. I'm going to do Pip Sniper. I'm going to do medium volatility, and I want to run this on pound yen and pound dollar. Okay. Again, I'll use control points just because I want to make it fast. So I'm going to say run test. Oh, so I forgot. Oh, look at this. See, I forgot my time frame. I'm going to say run test, and we're going to run this. So now I have like a basket. Now it's actually going to run. What I just did, what's happening right now is it's going to rerun that particular little bits of low volatilities, and then it's going to add the high volatility pairs as well. So it's going to run the whole thing, and you're going to see like the end results on the whole portfolio. Okay, so we'll just give it a second, let this thing run, and you see like, you know, just the manual aspect of doing this in 7 pairs is enough to like stop 9 out of 10 traders from doing it. And yet this is such an important part. Like, you know, if you don't have this data, you really don't have any inkling of what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you're going to be profitable, but it's a guarantee that you'll be unprofitable if you don't have this data, because you don't know if this thing works across multiple pairs, if it's robust enough across time frames, how it performs, you know, in drawdowns. All those things you can't tell because you're just too lazy to run a backtest, which I totally agree with. Who isn't? It's annoying as hell. And this is what this tool completely saves you from. So I'm going to run this more. Let me see if I got any questions. See if I got any questions here. Does the software use multiple processors and threads? I don't know. I'm not that.
It's a single threaded application, so you launch every test sequentially, because you can't start multiple instances of the same MT4.
Right. So Rick is asking, if you get this backtest, does it come with some type of instructions showing you how to install it and set it to work? Yeah, it's super easy. Like, you know, I'm showing you how to run this, setting it to work. You know, you download it, and it has a wizard, and it unpacks for you. But I'm sure Daniel can help you with the support, right?
Yes, of course, and we'll be producing videos to showcase how to use it as well.
Right. All right. So, anyways, look at this, guys. So I ran this. How many pairs is this? Like 5 pairs, right? 5 pairs, right? Less than a year. I think this was like about 8-9 months. That's 5%. Not bad, man. That's a really look at the profit factor, 2.35. Drawdown minimal. Like the way, you know, one of the ways I love to analyze strategies is, I think the only way that really I think is a true way of figuring out if something is halfway decent or not is actually total return to total drawdown, right? Now, a strategy is good is if it loses 5% and makes 5%. In other words, even money strategies are usually, that's actually to me the cutoff line. If it loses 20% in order to make 10%, right? If the drawdown is 20% and it makes 10%, that's already a very questionable strategy. That, you know, it may work, but the edge is really against you. If you get an even money strategy, you're doing really well, because in real life, nobody ever, you know, gives you $5 when you're risking 1. That's almost never happens. However, in this particular strategy, in this particular data set, and this is clearly like, you know, a small data set, so the more it goes, the less it's going to degrade a little bit. But here, you literally have a 5% return against a 1% drawdown, which is super super strong as a strategy. Now I ran this. I just want to show you. I think I ran like the full. Let me pull, hang on a second. I'm going to pull this up on my because I don't have Excel on this thing because I pretty much this is like a ghetto Windows computer. But let me just see if I can pull my Excel. I ran this into Google Sheets. The results. Here's the results portfolio. Okay, I'm going to show this to you. Hang on just one second. I'll bring it to the screen. Bear with me, guys. Okay. All right. So this is the results portfolio. So ran this on all this particular strategy is designed to run on these particular pairs. What is that? That's 10 pairs, right? 10 pairs, trades once a month. This is a very, very low stress strategy. I used $10,000 as my capital. You literally could use 5,000 on this. I mean, this is such a low stress, low risk control strategy that you can actually use quite less. But look at this. The P&L on this was 13%. Profit factor was 2. You know, and I think if I do like the full drawdown, I guess let me just see what the drawdown would be. I did the summary. And drawdown was about 4%. It's still great. It's literally, you see it degrades. It's not like that whole 1 to 5 was a dreamland, but this is basically 1 to 2, 2 to 1. I mean, still really good. You know, 2.5 to 1 actually. That's an incredible strategy. So in real life, this is like me talking in real life for you guys. In real life, when you look at this, you go, oh my God, I have my Shangri-La. I have my method to making billions. In real life, you're pretty much lucky to get this down to 13% drawdown, 13%. Like in other words, even money strategy, because whatever happens in a back test never happens in real life. Like for example, this thing was making so much money in January, everybody was super happy. And then February, March, we got coronavirus and the markets went absolutely crazy, right? That completely did not model in the last 10 years, much less the last 2 years of stuff. So of course, we got hit. But that's what I mean about having a strategy that is so generous in its initial back test that it can withstand the incredible volatility. I had another strategy that I was trading that like was doing beautiful, right? And then the coronavirus volatility just destroyed it, but I kept it going. I just kept it going really for academic purposes. Now, this is the interesting thing. The thing went from like up 20% to down 30%, and I did not stop it. This is a really important point. And then it came right back up to plus, basically break even. It's a break even. Now, you would say, oh my God, that's actually terrible. And I was like, no, that's actually great. It survived the worst possible environment you can imagine for like a trend-based strategy, and managed to come back to break even. Now that's a great strategy. So while the back testing, there's 2 things I want to kind of make you aware of. The back testing is super important, but don't ever believe the back test. In other words, use that as just a guide to what could be a possibly great strategy. So anyways, Pips Sniper, definitely a possibly great strategy, works super well. And you can see how easy it was for me to run all this stuff without doing any work. Now imagine, as Daniel was saying, imagine if you wanted to run this on all the crosses, all the majors, different time frames, just because you wanted to find out if there was possibly pockets of profitability that you're missing. That would be so tedious. And here with this thing, you could run it. You can literally just click, boom, 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 go away, walk a dog, come back, and you have all the results nicely in your spreadsheet. So very cool, and I hope you guys really liked it. Let me see if I got any questions on this. Somebody asked me about the presets. Let me see. Hang on a second. What was the question about the presets? Tell me more about the actual. How do you tell the tester what to test? Well, okay. Sorry. I kind of ran through this a little bit fast. Let me just go backwards. I totally understand what you're asking me. Okay, let me go back to this. I cannot find any of my, for some reason, all my icons have disappeared. That's great. Where'd they all go? I'm trying to find my MT4. Oh, here it is. Pepperstone. No, I want Pepperstone MT5. Let me see if I can do Pepperstone. I want MT4. Here it is. Really? I can't find my, I have to go into my, okay, we're gonna have to do this, we're gonna have to do it the old fashioned way. Wow, for some reason, all my icons disappeared off the thing. So let's just do it this way. PC. Now you guys can see, like, you know, the old school way of how to get to your MT4s. You go to Program Files 86. You're gonna go to Pepperstone MT4 Trader, and you're gonna go to your application, terminal application. I'm gonna launch this. So you were asking me, like, how did I have like all these things all set up, right? I'm actually glad I launched this because I need this. I need this for the future. So I'm glad we have this up. So when you're doing a strategy, when you're doing backtesting originally, right? You go into, you know, Pip Sniper. You go to Expert Properties, right? You set up all your parameters, whatever you were testing, whether you were testing, you know, all these are all the key parameters for my EA, this particular EA, and then you save them. You save them as a preset. And in this case, I saved two presets, low volatility and medium volatility, right? And so when you save those, Daniel's backtester will go in there and pull those files up and pretty much boom, boom, boom. So remember, you have like a set of parameters on a certain particular currency pairs that you want to apply to. You save that template, or you save that, you know, particular set of parameters into a preset file, and now you can reuse it continuously on 100 different things. And then, you know, if you want to change, like, I don't know, like, let's say cancel. Let me just do something else. I don't know. Let's say I want to change this to limit entry, right? So I'm just going to call this limit entry, right? So now I'm going to save this as medium volatility limit entry, right? Limit entry. And I don't want to launch Daniel's thing, but because then I have to close out my MT4, and I want to keep my MT4 running. But the point being is, when you launch his thing, there'll be three presets. There'll be low volatility, medium volatility, limit entry, right? And you can run it on that particular structure the way you want. So that's how you do it. It's super cool. Basically, you set up the template once, and you can reuse it a million times. Does it run on FXCM? Yeah, of course it runs on FXCM. It runs on any broker that has an MT4 platform, right, Daniel?
Yes, any MT4 platform is supported.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Any MT4 platform is supported. All right, my friends. Okay, so you know, we kind of burned a lot of time on this thing, but it's really cool. I'm glad you guys I really wanted you to get it. This whole point of the webinar is for us to get nitty-gritty.
Maybe just one quick thing, one last remark from my side about the backtester or the portfolio tester is that you can also save your configurations for tests. Imagine you clicked it together, which may involve multiple strategies with very specific symbol settings. You can save these within a project and then reopen it at a later time if you want to rerun the test, for example.
Okay,
that's possible as well.
Did I? Let's just see how we. So when does it show a save when we run the whole thing?
It's on the file, on the main menu.
Oh, on the file. Okay, so we have to go through the project. I figured that was the other issue. So that's really cool. So I could have actually saved this project, and then you can rerun the whole thing, right?
Yeah, and perhaps the last thing to point out is for every symbol, you can specify on which spread you would like to run it. That's under settings. So for example, different brokers have different spreads, and you may want to adjust the spreads to your broker. You can just set the spreads in there.
Right, and by the way, you know, like Daniel really stuck me with some really crappy spreads. Thank you very much. So like, you know, you see, like I did, you saw this, I ran this on Daniel's spreads, which are really, you know, significantly higher than what I see in the marketplace. But and it makes a difference. That's going to make a difference. But you know what? My recommendation is don't fool yourself. You know, you're not that pretty. Okay, if you make a spread in Aussie Kiwi at 1, and all of a sudden, you know, it makes money at every single trade you take, that's only going to make you feel good. It's not in fake life, not in real life. So if you wanted to kind of trade in real life, keep the defaults here. Maybe even make them worse if you have worse spreads. Although he's kept it pretty realistic. I think, what did you do on these spreads? You took an average of.
I took the FXCM historical spreads and added, I think, 5 micro pips or perhaps 10. I forget. I would have to look it up, but something like this. Yeah.
Right. So so that's a reasonable market environment to test it, right?